Good day and welcome to today's class. Today's class is a continuation of our previous classes on indices. In today's class, we shall be looking at laws of indices. At the previous classes, we have dealt precisely with the basic laws of indices. We looked at the additive law, we looked at the subtraction law, we looked at the zero index law, and we also looked at the product law. In today's class, we shall be applying these 5 laws or 4 which we have discussed in solving problems, and I shall be exposing learners to more exercises on these basic laws, because most times in your academic work you may be expected to simplify problems involving indical problems and standard forms. So we shall be taking more examples or more exercises to make you understand better. At the end of the class, you shall be given an assignment which is expected that you try it yourself and see how good you are in it. Otherwise, I would advise you to go back to the series 1 and 2 and relearn what have been taught there. So we shall look at exercises on product of indices. We are asked to simplify the following. Question 1 says bracket y raised to power 4 all cubed. This is a product law, and we're told that in solving this, you keep the base and multiply the powers, so that this now becomes y raised to power 4 times 3. And y raised to the power 4 times 3, where 4 times 3 is 12, is said to be equal to y raised to the power 12. So this is what you will do when you are asked to simplify a problem involving indices. Question 2 is bracket k raised to power 5 or raised to power 4. Same thing we did in 1. You keep the base constant and multiply the powers. So this is said to be k raised to the power of 5 times 4, which is equal to k raised to the power of 20. For 5 times 4 is equal to 20. So whenever you have a problem in this form, no matter what the powers are, just multiply them and it gives you your answer. Remember, keep the base constant. 3. V raised to the power of 4 or raised to the power of 0.5. This is equal to v raised to the power of 4 times. You may decide, you may want to simplify this to fraction, or you can leave it in decimals depending on how good you are. But if you leave it in decimal, this becomes 0.5. If it is fraction, it is 1 over 2. So this, when you multiply, but I like expressing it as a fraction so that we can easily simplify it without the use of calculators. So this becomes v raised to the power of 4 times 1 over 2, which you can simplify it to be v to power 4 divided by 2, which is equal to v. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this is v squared. This is your answer. Question 4 says we should simplify m raised to the power of 2 over 3 all to power 6. Same thing goes. This is equal to m raised to the power 2 over 3 to be multiplied by 6 over 1. Okay, and this can be simplified to be equal to looking at the powers. Okay, this becomes m raised to the power of 2 times 6 divided by 3. This can further be simplified to be m raised to the power of, you can simplify it at this point by dividing the numerator by the denominator, because they have a factor that can divide, or you can multiply the numerator before you divide by the denominator. Whichever way you take is still okay. So I'm going to divide for simplicity's sake. 3 into itself is 1. 3 into 6 is 2, because 3 is a factor of 3 and 6. So when you multiply out, this becomes 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 over 1 is the same thing as 4. So your answer is m raised to power 4. Question 5 say we should simplify 3 into bracket z squared all raised to power 4. I told you in the previous class that power 4 is affecting all that is in the bracket excluding 3, because 3 is not part of it. So this can be simplified to be 3 times z raised to the power of 2 times 4. This is equal to 3 times z raised to the power of 8, and this can be simplified to be 3z to power 8. So this is your answer. Question number 6. Minus t raised to power 4 or squared. The square now affects whatever you have in the bracket. Remember, I said when the power is even and the variable is a negative, automatically it becomes positive, which I proved to you. Otherwise, this becomes minus t raised to power 4 times minus t raised to power 4. So when you apply the law of indices, minus times minus becomes positive. That is where it becomes positive, which I told you. So you may decide to write positive or not. If it is without a sign, it shows definitely that it's positive. So I'm not going to write positive. So this becomes t raised to the power of law of indices. When it is multiplication, you add the powers. So this becomes 4 plus 4. And that is what? 8. So our answer becomes t raised to power 8. Question 7. A raised to the power of 0 all squared. Now you can solve it in two ways. For we know from the zero index law that any variable raised to the power of 0, or any number, anything raised to the power of 0 is 1. And this can be simplified to be 1 squared, and 1 squared is equal to 1. Or you can say a raised to the power of 0 times 2, and 0 times 2 is still 0. So a raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So whichever way you take is acceptable. Question number 8. 5a squared bc squared all squared. In simplifying this, you are to square every variable or every term in the bracket. So this is equal to 5 raised to the power of 1 times 2 times a raised to the power of 2 times 2 times b raised to the power of 1 times 2 and times c raised to the power of 2 times 2. So this is equal to 5 squared times a raised to the power of 4 times b squared times c raised to the power of 4. For 5 squared is said to be 25. So this becomes 25 a raised to the power of 4 b squared c raised to the power of 4. Or you can simply simplify this as 5a squared bc squared times 5a squared bc squared. For the square of this implies this. Then you multiply them like terms by like terms, okay? 5 times 5 will give you 25. A squared times a squared will give you a raised to the power of 4. B times b will give you b squared. And c squared times c squared will give you c raised to the power of 4. Whichever way you take is same. Question 9 says minus 5 into bracket p q squared all raised to the power of 5. Remember, the power affects only what is in the bracket, excluding what is outside. So this gives us minus 5 times p raised to the power of 5 times q raised to the power of 10. I just did a direct multiplication. This is equal to minus 5p to power 5 q to power 10 as your answer. Question 10. 5 raised to the power of minus 3 all squared. This is equal to 5 raised to the power of minus 3 times 2, which gives us 5 raised to the power of minus 6. But this is a negative power law, so this becomes 1 over 5 raised to the power of 6. And 5 raised to the power of 6 can be said to be 5 multiplying itself 6 times, which becomes 1 over 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this can be simplified to be 1 over 5 times 5 is 25. This gives us 25, and this gives us 25. So 25 times 25 will give us 625. I think so. Let's see. 25 by 25. This is 25. Carry 2. This is 10, 12. This is 2 times 5 is 10. Carry 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Yes, is 625. So 625 to be multiplied by another 25. That means 25 cube. That means 25 cube. So 5 times 5 is 25. You write down 5 and carry 2. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. You write down 2 and carry 1. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 1, 31. 2 times 5 is 10. You write down 0 and carry 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 times 6 is 12. So this becomes 5, 2, 6, 5, 1. That is 15,625. So this can be simplified to 15,625 as your answer. Question 11. We are asked to simplify this. V to power 6 all divided by negative V to power 4. This becomes V to power 6 divided by V to power 4. Remember what I told you, that when the power is even and the sign is negative, when you use that power on it, it becomes positive. So with that, this becomes, if you simplify this, is said to be the subtraction law, and this can be said to be V to power 6 divided by V to power 4, and this can be simplified to be V to power 6 minus 4, which is said to be V to power 2. That's V squared. So V squared is our answer. Question number 5 says we should simplify xy squared all raised to power 4. This can be simplified to be x raised to power 4 y raised to power 2 times 4, which is equal to xy raised to power 8. Question number 13. Simplify minus a cubed divided by a minus a squared all squared. Now, by this being a square, the powers of this becomes positive. So this can be simplified to be equal to a cubed times 2 divided by a squared times 2, which is equal to a to power 6 divided by a to power 4. This is equal to a to power 6 minus a to power 4, and this can be divided by a to power 4. And remember, in subtraction law, if it is division, you subtract the powers. This becomes a to the power 6 minus 4, which is equal to a to the power 2. That's a squared. Also, you can apply the subtraction law first in the bracket before you apply the product law. 14, 1 over 4 into 8m squared. Also, the square is said to affect only the 8m. So we are going to square all that is in the bracket. So this is equal to 1 over 4 times 8 squared times m squared. This is equal to 1 over 4 times 8 squared is 64 over 1 times m squared over 1. And when you simplify this, 4 into itself will go 1. 4 into 6 is 1 remainder 2. 4 into 24 is 6 times. So this gives us 16. So this becomes 16m squared as your answer. So it's very simple. I encourage you to keep doing this. You can follow it up or just copy the questions and solve them yourself. Then you confirm with what I have done. Question 15. 18t cubed divided by 3t all squared. Now, we are first of all going to apply the product law by multiplying the powers of 3t by 2 and thereafter apply the subtraction law. So this becomes 18t cubed divided by, this becomes 3 squared t squared. This can be simplified to be 18t cubed divided by 3 squared is 9 t squared. Then you can apply the division law. This becomes 18 divided by 9 into brackets t squared divided by t cubed, divided by t squared. And when you simplify this, 18 divided by 9 is 2 times t raised to the power of 3 minus 2. This is equal to 2t raised to the power of 1, which is 2t. Question 16. Simplify 1 over 8 into minus 2x squared all cubed. Same thing goes. We have 1 over 8. Since the power is odd, definitely the sign will be negative, will still remain negative. So this becomes times negative 2 cubed x raised to the power of 2 times 3. Remember I told you why this will be negative. So this becomes 1 over 8 times 2 cubed is 8. So this becomes minus 8 over 1 times x raised to the power 6 over 1. So when you simplify, this goes and you are left with minus x raised to the power of 6. The negative is still there, okay? So this is your answer. Question number 17. Simplify this. We'll also simplify the numerator by squaring it before dividing by the denominator. So this is even, so this becomes positive. We have x raised to the power of 3 times 2 divided by minus x raised to the power of 4. This becomes x raised to the power of, this becomes 6 divided by minus x raised to the power of 4. So in simplifying this, where one is positive and the other is negative, you have to also divide their signs. For positive, this is positive. Positive divided by negative will return a negative. And then you apply law of indices where applicable. This becomes x raised to the power of 6 minus 4. And our answer becomes minus x squared. So this is your answer. Question 18. Simplify minus a cubed squared times a raised to the power of 4 all divided by bracket minus a all raised to the power of 5. Okay, let's apply. Remember, this is even power, so it's going to change the sign of the constant term in the bracket. This becomes plus, so it becomes plus 1 a raised to the power of 3 times 2 times a raised to the power of 4. While since this is odd, it has no effect on the power. It still remains negative. So this becomes minus a raised to the power of 5. So let's simplify the numerator before dividing with the denominator. This becomes a to the power 6 times a to the power 4, all divided by minus a to the power 5. So when you do this becomes, simplify the numerator, a raised to the power 6 plus 4 divided by minus a to the power 5, and this is equal to a to the power 10 divided by minus a to the power 5. This becomes, keep simplifying, remember this is positive, so positive divided by negative is negative. A raised to the power of 10, when it is division you subtract a raised to the power of 10 minus 5. This becomes minus a raised to the power of 5, and this is your answer. Second to the last question, that we should simplify 4a cubed b times bracket 3ab all raised to the power of minus 3. Now this can be simplified as 4a cubed b times, since this is a negative power law, it is also good or is better to apply the negative power law, which I will introduce you to before cubing every term in the bracket. So this becomes 1 over 3ab all cubed. The negative power law says if the power is negative, for you to simplify it becomes 1 divided by what you have in the bracket. So this can be simplified further to be 4a cubed b divided by bracket 3ab cubed. So simplifying this further, you have 4a cubed b divided by, now cube every term in the bracket, 3 cubed times a cubed times b cubed. This will give us 4a cubed b divided by 3 cubed is 27. That simply means 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27 times a cubed b cubed. So let's divide the powers. This becomes 4 divided by 27 times a cubed minus 3, because if it's division you subtract the powers, b raised to the power of 1 minus 3, because the power of b at the numerator is 1. Okay, so this can be simplified further to be 4 divided by 27 times a raised to the power of 3 minus 3. 3 minus 3 is 0, and a raised to the power of 0, it becomes a raised to the power of 0, b raised to the power of minus 2. This can be further simplified to be 4 divided by 27 times a raised to the power of 1. A raised to the power of 0 is 1, so times 1 times b raised to the power of minus 2 can be said to be 1 over b squared. So when you simplify this further, it gives you 4 over 27 times 1 over b squared, which can be simplified to be 4 divided by 27b squared. So this is your answer. All you need to do is just to follow the steps as I have done, and gradually you will arrive at the answer. Question 30, question 20 says simplify minus into bracket p squared all raised to the power of 3 divided by p raised to the power of 4 times minus p. So just take your time and simplify the numerator before you simplify the denominator, and then you apply the subtraction law, because this is division. So this becomes, remember, the cube is not affecting the sign. This gives us minus p squared times 3 divided by, simplify the denominator, p raised to the power of 4 times minus p. This is equal to minus p raised to the power of 6 divided by, this is plus, so plus times minus is minus, p raised to the power of 4 plus 1. So this is equal to minus p to power 6 divided by minus p to power 5. This is equal to, negative divided by negative is positive, so this returns the positive. Positive p raised to the power of 6, because this is division, minus 5. This is equal to p raised to the power of 1, which is p. So this is our answer. That brings us to the end of today's class. In today's class, we have seen how to apply these 4 basic laws of additive, subtraction, zero index, and product law. We have seen how we can use it in simplifying INDICES problems. In our next class, we shall be looking at fractional indices, where the powers are said to be fraction, and how to simplify that. Thank you for being attentive in today's class. We advise that you subscribe to our channel if you are yet to do that, while you like our videos as you watch. You also recommended to share to your friends so that they also can benefit from this project. Thank you very much, and do have a nice day.